You ever feel like you're falling behind in life and that there is never enough time in the day? And you've tried all the must-have planners, you bought the fancy pens and stickers, and your life still has not magically transformed? What makes it even worse is this is kind of the life we were sold, the one that we dreamed for and prayed about. The fancy job, the first comes love, then comes marriage, then comes a baby in a baby carriage. But it's kind of feeling like the next line should have been, and then comes anxiety, depression, and girl, you're never gonna have time for yourself. If you've never met me before, hey sis, my name is Yanique, and I am a recovering procrastinator who happens to be a mom and a wife and a career woman. So trust me, I understand the struggle. And what I've learned is maybe the issue is not laziness or that we lack effort. Maybe the issue is that we just don't have the effective strategies to be consistent. Now, these strategies took me from drowning in my life to thriving in the same exact roles and circumstances that I had before. The biggest challenge to consistency that we face, especially as women, is trying to juggle the demand of motherhood and work and trying to manage a household and our relationships and our friendships and having a social life in our body. And it's a lot trying to manage all of the different facets of womanhood without losing ourselves to the feeling of being overwhelmed. I need you to know and to believe that you are in control. You were given authority and dominion, and so it is time for you to take that control back and stop letting life control you. From this moment forward, you are the thriving version of yourself. Not that you want to be or that you're trying to be, you are her. So every action and every decision that you make here forward is going to be based from that perspective. Those bad habits and the lazy habits that you had before no longer exist here because they no longer align with who you are. You are a fitness girly, and so you choose to move your body instead of scrolling on your phone for hours. You are the neat person who refuses to live and raise children in mess. So you take the 10 to 15 minutes every day to do a quick tidy instead of crashing out on the couch. You are a confident woman who prioritizes her self-care and her mental wellness. So when people cross the boundaries that you have set in place for a reason, you stand up for yourself and you use your voice to say no. Now, after a long day, I like to unwind with a good TV show, okay? I love a good animal documentary. You can find me watching the sharks at any given night. But I also like a little Married at First Sight and Sister Wives girl. I love being all up in them people business, okay? But you know what I hate doing? I hate folding laundry. It is my least favorite, one of my least favorite chores that have to get done, right? Now, my husband and my sons take care of most of the actual washing and drying of said laundry because, you know, they just got to push a couple of buttons, okay? But folding and putting away is not in their ministry, so that is where I come into play. And even though I hate it, because I am a woman with a tidy house, I do fold my laundry and put it away. So what I did in order to build that new habit was I started folding laundry when I sit down to watch my shows. Now, watching my show is a mindless activity. Folding the laundry, another mindless activity. So pairing these two together works because I still achieve the goal of unwinding and watching Cody pretend to want to have this polygamous relationship, and I still get to fold my clothes. And because these two things are happening in tandem with each other, over time this builds the new habit so that it becomes something I don't even have to think about. I automatically will go and grab that clean laundry waiting to be folded when I am headed to the couch to go watch my shows. I basically found a way to make laundry enjoyable for me, which is another key strategy for how to stay consistent with your new habits. You are likely very consistent right now with your bad habits. You're probably opening your eyes and starting to scroll through whatever social media app is your favorite at that point without thinking of it, even though you said you want to get up and start your morning routine. Why? Because that habit is enjoyable. So when trying to be consistent in a new habit or area, try and find the enjoyable versions of that. Last year, I had put on quite a bit of weight, and even though I was so uncomfortable in my body, I was struggling with going to the gym consistently. I might go for a day or two and then fall off because I didn't want to get into my car, I didn't want to have to do the whole commute thing and thinking about packing gym clothes and all of that stuff. It just was a major pain point for me, right? My husband bought a Peloton because that's supposed to be a real convenient way to work out. In fact, it's sitting right here behind me in my living room collecting dust. Why? Because I did not like it. I don't enjoy cycling. Like I don't love it. But you know what I do love? I love dancing. I am the type of girl who is the first one on the dance floor and the last one out, okay? So I found a gym that had different type of dance fitness classes, and I fell in love with Dance Jam. I am low-key obsessed with my Dance Jam classes, so much so that even though I have to get in my car and drive 20 minutes, which means I have to schedule time out for it, I pay monthly, all of the barriers and excuses that kept me from the gym the first go around, I don't use as excuses. I get up and I go to Dance Jam faithfully. Why? Because I enjoy it. So instead of dreading going to the gym to exercise, I am actually looking forward to it. So try and find those enjoyable versions of the habit that you're building. If you are trying to include more mindful activities into your morning routine and you're an artist, like you love art, you can do those gratitude journals that are like adult coloring books. If you're trying to spend more time with God, but you like audio versus sitting down to read, you can listen to the Bible and do like guided prayers. Like there are different versions of the habit that you're trying to build. You just need to seek out what that looks like for you or what's going to be enjoyable for you. And you know what I'll do after dance class? I will go sit in the sauna and the steam room. Sometimes I'll do a little jacuzzi self-care moment. I'll take myself out on a solo date for lunch or grab Starbucks. But I'm basically building in a reward system around my exercise habit. This is how you stay consistent and motivated. A lot of us tend to punish ourselves. We'll put ourselves on restrictive diets or crazy workout plans or talk so nasty and negative about ourselves, basically fill ourselves with shame as punishment for not being who we want to be or not sticking to a habit. Girl, flip that thing around and make it a reward. Instead of I can't do B until I do A, think of it as once I finish this, then I'll be able to do that. And even though that just sounds like a play on words, it's a simple perspective shift. So instead of it being a punishment, you are just building parameters and boundaries over the reward to make sure that the habit is formed. It's positive reinforcement for yourself. And this doesn't have to be some big grand gesture. It can be very small. For instance, I had a kidney scare a couple of months ago, and because of that, I need to drink a lot more water. And I found that, girl, if I don't start drinking this water early in the morning, I am either A, not gonna hit my water goal for the day, or B, I'm gonna be chugging water all evening, which means I'm gonna be up every 2 hours like a newborn because I have to use the bathroom. So I built a reward system around the habit of drinking water early in the morning. I love my morning cup of coffee. I make it at home and it's kind of like dessert in a cup. Oh, it is so good that I look forward to it as soon as I open my eyes in the morning. But instead of making the cup of coffee the habit, I've made drinking water the habit and my cup of coffee the reward. These two actions are so tied together now that when I forget to drink my cup of water, I'll forget to make my cup of coffee. And this is not a punishment thing, it is just how the system works for me now, right? the coffee is the reward. So if I haven't fulfilled the requirement, I don't get the reward. Most times it's when I go to grab my water jug for the first time that morning that I realize, oh my God, I haven't even gotten my coffee for the day. But isn't that how it usually works when you're forming new habits? Girl, if you rely completely on yourself, you're going to forget, or you're going to revert to those same bad habits. Especially when you are busy or tired or just feeling overwhelmed, if you do not have a system set in place that is going to remind you of your habits and when you're supposed to be doing them, you are going to revert back into your old ways. So use your technology. Your phone is so much more than just scrolling through social media. I like to use the Notes app on my iPhone. That is where I put my morning routine. Like literally every task on my morning routine goes into my Notes app. My daily to-do list, my weekly to-do list, my top 3 things that I absolutely must do for the day, all is in my Notes app, but it's in checklist form. 1, because we all get that instant gratification of checking off an item, right? But 2, there is a visual representation that now takes the burden off of me to remember all of the things that I said that I wanted to do, all of the habits that I'm building. It's right there. So if I get busy or tired, or it's a really hard day and I'm feeling overwhelmed, I just need to go back to my predetermined checklist and see exactly what it is that I need to do next. If I completely rely on myself for every single task of the day, especially in the beginning when I'm first building the habit, it is so much harder to stay consistent. And it also is a way for you to hold yourself accountable. At the end of the week, I can review and see what is working, what is not working, what I've been slacking off, and what I need to probably tweak in my routine. It's all there for me to see. Another way that I use my phone is, girl, for reminders and alarms. If I want to take a morning walk, I'll send myself a reminder, not just to go on that morning walk, but also will have like a note, like I'll label the alarm with the why I am doing this. And if your why is very important to you, seeing it is going to push you into action, or it should. For me, I go on my morning walks, not necessarily for exercise, it's a benefit, but something about being in what God created and it being so much bigger than me, that if it's a reminder, if He can care for the trees and the birds and the squirrels, girl, how much more does He care for me? And it grounds me. And the alarms is key. It is hard for me sometimes, not sometimes, a lot of times, to transition from one task to another, especially if I'm switching modes. So I'll set alarms for when it's time for me to go from my morning routine into work mode, and from work mode into mom mode, because I sometimes get stuck into an individual task that I want to keep on going. And I am building the habit right now of stopping my workday at a certain time, especially now that I'm working for myself, so that I can transition into mom and family time. Use technology like your virtual assistant, sis. Don't carry that burden completely on your shoulders. Now remember, consistency alone won't cut it, especially if you are consistently doing the wrong things. And I am a firm believer that your journey to your thriving self starts with your morning routine, but not any old morning routine, one that is specifically tailored to you. So make sure you watch this video next, and that is going to help you build the perfect morning routine to really help change your life.